Hello again, welcome back to Football Spy Online, the show that's made a mental note never to ask Marlon King for a dance. We've got Spurs, Newcastle and Chelsea news and some very surprising West Ham gossip today as well. But we start, as I'm sure we'll be starting most days, with Manchester City. Our own Daily Mirror newspaper reveals that the Arab owners want to launch a huge £50 million bid to sign Fernando Torres from Liverpool, but because they know Torres would never leave Liverpool, they are settling for West Ham's Craig Bellamy. It's the second time they've gone for the Welsh striker after moving in last summer. If I was West Ham now, I would sell. Bellamy's not produced anything in East London, and if City offer anything over £10 million, I'd bite their hands off, and City might well have to pay over the odds, as the Sun says today that Celtic want to take Bellamy to Parkhead. Now, I didn't know this, but Bellamy's cost £31 million in transfer fees since Strachan took him to Coventry from Norwich for £6.5 million 8 years ago. I'd still go City if I was him, though. Big trouble at Chelsea. Alex wants a transfer. Here's the back page of The Sun. Alex says here, I told Chelsea a few days ago that I wanted to leave. I'm sure there's going to be no shortage of Premier League clubs that will take him. I'm thinking Spurs and Newcastle straight off. Good player. As for Chelsea's targets, The Independent says here that they want Wigan's £6 million rated striker Zaki. Dream on. His parent club Zamalek will want a lot more than that and have already started looking at other bidders. Elsewhere, there may be trouble ahead for Rafa Benitez at Liverpool. He won't play either Babel or Keane regularly, but doesn't want to sell either of them. Don't want to let them go out on loan either. I bet Benitez was the kind of child who wouldn't let anyone else play with his toys, even when he wasn't playing with them. Anyway, AC Milan have come out and said that they want Daniel Agger, who for a long while was unable to get into the Liverpool team. Here's the Telegraph. The Milan Vice President Adriano Galliani said last night, we've kept a frequent eye on the Agger situation and of course noticed the problems he's having agreeing a new contract. Expect developments there. Time for some messages. And Sam 08 LFC Gerard, shorten that name, says, did Huntelaar go to Madrid? Yes, he did. Marique Ashy says, it's amazing Ramos got the Madrid job. I wonder how he's going to do. I think he'll be fine, but I think it's more about egos rather than ability in that dressing room. James Rainford is asking if there's any truth in Harry Redknapp's claim at Spurs that he's got no money to spend next month. James says it sounds like a ploy to stop the club being ripped off like they almost were with Arshavin. You know what Redknapp's like. He'll insist he's got no dough, then pull some rabbits out of the hat. I think the £30 million from Berbatov hasn't been spent, and the money that came in for most of the players in the summer is still burning a hole in Tottenham's pockets. Mark G. Carter has posted via the Daily Mirror channel, and he's been very impressed with what he's seen there. He says, hello Darren, just wondering whether there's any news on transfers to Spurs. I heard rumours of a possible bid for Glenn Johnson and Peter Crouch. Keep up the good work, this is a great channel. Thanks very much, Mark. As for your question, well, we told everyone last week that the main targets at Spurs are a centre-half, a central midfielder and a left winger. We think that they'll get Downing from Borough this January and also either Upson from West Ham or Distin from Portsmouth. And a keeper, most likely James at Portsmouth or Green at West Ham. And if they do get another striker, again, I think Harry will go back to Portsmouth. Not for Crouch, I think he'd prefer Jermaine Defoe. Now, we were going to do some websites today, but there's so much good paper talk that we're going to stick with that because our transfer king at the Mirror, Alan Nixon, says that Spurs want Blackburn's highly rated left-back Stephen Warnock to solve their left-back problem. Now, in case you didn't know, Spurs have never won with Gareth Bale in their team. 15 times he's played for them. Not once has he finished on the winning side. So no wonder they're going for Warnock. And then the star, Joe Kinnear at Newcastle, is going all continental. We've got the 32-year-old Spain international Juanito on his list of targets for January. Trouble is, why would he sign for Newcastle when he doesn't know if Kinnear is going to be there next season? A few more of your messages. And Footy Arsenal thinks the best foreign import was Bergkamp at Arsenal. I'd go along with that. Footy also thinks Arsenal need a striker up front. Says he'd go for Marseille's Mamadou Niang. Not for me. Needs a bit more composure in front of goal. One other point from Footy Arsenal. He's asking if I think Bentner will leave in January. Well, I can tell you that Spartak Moscow like him very much. And on the evidence of last night in the Champions League, if they offered anything over £5 million, I'd sell. Trust me, I'd sell. Mystic Hayden Morrison, you may remember he got the score of the Chelsea game right the other night. He's saying that Chelsea will beat West Ham 2-0 on Sunday, with Drogba and Lampard scoring. I tell you what, Hayden, if you get that right, I will let you predict all of next week's fixtures. Big call, that one. David Doofus Nugent's got you all going. I told you yesterday that he's rejected a move to Everton where there are no strikers, even though he can't get into the Portsmouth team where there are lots of strikers. Just to be with her says, I think Everton taking on Nugent would be an awful move for their club. He's not Premier League standard and never will be. He's a good Championship player, but the gap between Premiership and Championship is massive, and we've all seen he just doesn't have it. An ideal move for him would be back to the Championship where he can get games. Zygams asked us to check out a Brazilian called Lenny and to find out whether he's coming to Arsenal. We've done that. He's not. Super Orville's asking if I think Owen will leave Newcastle in January. Yes, I do, and I think he'll go to either Chelsea or Man City. Aston Villa is also in the frame for that one as well. A couple more stories for you, and Wande Ramos at Real Madrid surprisingly said that he wants Didier Zokora from Spurs, which is why Zokora suddenly become all leery in the sun and is telling his teammates that they need to pull their finger out in the league. Sticking with the Sun, and Robbie Keane says he wants to fight for his place at Liverpool. He says here, my confidence has not been affected by things that have been said about me, things that are like that are never going to get me down. Robbie, the only person questioning you has been your own manager. Now, a few more emails before we go, and John Talbot's asking which team I think's made the best transfers with the least money. Now, someone called Brian Talbot, who I'm sure is no relation, takes the words right out of my mouth when he says, that would be Arsenal. They hardly spend a penny. And Mohammed has posted my email of the day. It's a bit long, but I like it. He says, why is Dole Bludger, that's his words, David Nugent still signing on at Fratton Park? If reports are true that he's shunned David Moyes' attempts to resurrect his career with a loan spell at Everton, then his ambition needs to be scrutinised. Not only has he got a cornetto's chance in hell of getting into the Portsmouth starting lineup, but as a lifelong Evertonian, you'd think he'd be answering the call of his childhood team with haste. Nugent, 0 starts, 0 goals, 0 assists, and 0 heart. Mohammed, you really do need to stop sitting on the fence. More papers, and Man City are now looking at West Ham's Matthew Upson. Don't City remind you of the ugly duckling who's had a bit of a makeover, now she's fluttering her eyelashes at anyone. Anyway, the Express say that the Hammers don't want to sell, but £10 million that could twist their arm. Whole host of players in this piece also linked with City. In fact, I think I might have even seen Tony the Tiger mentioned in there as well. But it's with West Ham that we finished the paper review, because wait until you hear this. You know they're in the middle of a cash crisis, and Newcastle, they're right back on 70 grand a week. He wants another 2 years on his contract that runs out in the summer. Never mind the credit crunch, never mind the fact that Neil's been absolutely rubbish since he's been there. He wants a pay rise. Put him on your list of players moving clubs next month, because trust me, he will be moving clubs. Before I go, let me give a quick nod to our friends at 3am on the celebrity page at the Mirror. Their 3am spy has been infiltrating a few Christmas parties in the Premier League, and this is what they found. Spurs, Giovanni Dos Santos being thrown into the back of a car with a coat over his head after one too many. Normally in Mexico, that's followed by a ransom note. John Terry sounding like Vanilla Ice at the Chelsea Christmas party, trying to do a bit of Luther Vandross, Biggie Smalls and Soulja Boy. And Jermaine Defoe sorting out his post-match entertainment with girlfriend Chantel Houghton. He bought her a bulldog for Christmas. Somehow, I don't think it will be the first time he's ever used the words, don't be scared, it won't bite. Chris is in the Football Spy office working out where he's going to be doing his Christmas shopping, and I'll see you next time.